Hey everyone, so before we jump into the interview with my buddy who designed these grenades, I just wanted to wait until I had a chance to actually light one of these off so that we could have the full burn time. So I'm going to go ahead, light one of these off. We'll come back later and actually show how these things work. But please enjoy the smoke footage while I do the interview with my buddy who designed these over at Patriot Gear and Smoke. Hey everyone, I am here in beautiful Idaho with Yan from Patriot Gear and Smoke. And if you guys have been following kind of the Camden crew of people or a lot of the associated groups, you've probably come across Patriot Gear and Smoke. I know I first heard about this concept several years ago, and I've been like chomping at the bit to like finally see him hit the market. And as you can probably tell with things in my hands, that's actually finally starting to happen.
It's about time.
Yeah, and so my excitement was due to the fact that if you look at a lot of the commercially available, airsoft smoke grenades and other, civilian consumable smoke grenades, they've just been lacking in one area or another, whether it be output, ignition source, ability to fit an existing mag pouch or grenade pouches. And you have seemed to address pretty much all of those issues. So, start out just by saying like what's your background and what got you to the point where you're designing and manufacturing civilian smoke grenades?
So background on those and why I came up with those was so I did some security contracting for a while, and when we were outside of the US, we can have the real stuff and the fun toys and everything that went along with it, but when we came to do contracting work here in the US, we couldn't have anything like that because of regulations, ATF stuff, and whatever. So started looking at what was out there to fill those needs at those times, and nothing was out there. So I figured, hey, if there's a hole that needs to be filled, I'll try to do my best and fill it up myself.
Awesome.
So that's what we came up with.
Cool. Yeah, and so I'm gonna show like a close-up of me actually using one of these at the end of this video, but you'll have seen footage of one of these actually going, just so you can be getting an idea of what we're talking about here. But I'll come in closer. But this is, I think, one of there's something, the tactile feel of using a smoke grenade or a real grenade, which being Air Force I never got any experience with, but of being able to actually pull the pin, having the spring-loaded spoon, and actually getting that ignition system to start. That is pretty satisfying, and it also instills confidence that it's actually going to work. A lot of those other smoke grenades that have been available, whether they're the cardboard body ones or anything like that, being in the Pacific Northwest, it's a little wet sometimes, and those don't always ignite, but this uses a much more reliable ignition system. And again, by having the ability to pull that pin, we were talking about before we started rolling, if the situation changes and I don't need to use it, I can throw that pin back in and I can hold that spoon down. And the other cool thing about this is that this is, as you've mentioned before, cannon compatible.
Correct.
So I can actually pull the pin on this, holding the spoon down, drop it into the cannon, and actually launch it with one of those blanks. And what's the average distance you got on this?
I say between 80 to 100 yards.
Okay, 80 to 100 yards. So. I can't throw that far. I am I am not Brett Favre. So I can't even imagine that. But that definitely is going to extend the range. I was asking him before we started rolling if he knew of anything else that uses the same diameter to launch things such as this or other Pepsi beverages. We weren't familiar with any, but if you know of any, we would definitely like to know, because we like knowing our options when it comes to usability of stuff like this.
Options are good.
Yeah, and now speaking of options, currently these are available in white. You've talked before about doing other colors. Are there any specific ones that you're trying to get to?
Red and blue first, so we could do red, white, and blue if we wanted.
Beautiful.
So those two are first, and then green and yellow.
Green and yellow, okay.
And then possibly more after that, but those four are like the four main ones that'll be coming out.
Awesome. And so again, in addition to these being able to fit in the X Products cannon, you'll probably be wondering how they fit in actual smoke grenade pouches. This is one from SOE Gear, original SOE, so made in the mother effing United States. And you can see that it fits in here, no problem.
That's a horizontal one, the vertical one's fit just the same.
Exactly. So you don't have to have any concerns there. That's, again, the nice thing. While a lot of the tactical nylon gear we've got an airplane going over, so hopefully we're not too noisy here. A lot of the tactical nylon gear is geared towards those military guys, which civilians then consume. But then we can't get the same equipment that the military guys get. So at least now we can start making use of some of those pouches in a way that's still readily usable and ready to be utilized on the civilian front.
Absolutely.
And honestly, so one of the things that I was thinking about that makes me excited about these is I find in civilian training environments, now tactical response is a little bit different because they have a lot more stuff at their disposal. A lot of civilian training environments that I've taken training in a lot of places, completely ignore the use of smoke. And I think part of that is the inaccessibility of good smoke grenade style products. So if you've only taken civilian training, if you don't have any contractor experience, if you don't have military experience, you might not fully appreciate what smoke can do for you in a tactical environment or even a signaling environment. Hopefully with the proliferation of this product in the market, that'll hopefully change, because smoke is a really, really big deal, whether again for obscuring your position or just again signaling to someone else. What in your opinion, what is your take on the use of smoke in a tactical environment?
I think it's a force multiplier. I mean, it just changes the whole game.
And again, especially in a civilian context, we have these like glorious ideas of getting into firefights when the boog kicks off. The reality is I want to avoid as many fights as possible. And putting up a shield of smoke for me and my buddies to get out and at least pick the location where we're gonna have that, instead of someone dropping us getting caught in the X. Again, it's things like that this becomes immensely useful for, and again, why I'm really excited about this product.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as people who want to actually purchase these, you aren't selling direct from your website.
Correct.
They have to go through local dealers, correct? So if someone wants to know where to order them, how do they find out who has it nearby?
Go on our website and there'll be a list of dealers. Just look at the states and the cities and all that stuff and find whoever's closest to you and go there and support them. Support your local stores.
Well, and so being in Oregon and working at a gun store, I'm going to be begging my management team to start carrying these. But I was looking at your website before coming here. I didn't see much here on the West Coast. So if someone...
Not yet, but there's somebody that's already, we just met him this afternoon. So there is a dealer in Boise. Boise Black Rifle. So check them out.
I might have to check them out before I head out of town myself.
They're a really nice gun store. They got a lot of stuff, a lot of ammo, a lot of guns. It's surprising. They're stocked up 100%.
That's a good problem to have right now, because that's a hard thing to find. But so if, like, say here, me being in Oregon, if I don't have a local dealer, can I have my local, like my favorite local gun store, contact you to become a dealer?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So if people want to stay on top of product launches or product releases, where's the best way to stay on top of that?
For now, our website, but we will grow the social media site. So if you're on Instagram, YouTube and things like that, will be on there.
Perfect.
So give us some time to get the right person behind the keyboard, because that's not me.
No, that takes a special desire to read nasty comments about yourself to want to do something like that. So I'll at least have it at the bottom of the screen, but for now, YouTube shouldn't prevent me from linking to Patriot Gear and Smoke's website. So I will definitely have that in the description. And if they do start like a YouTube channel or other social media platforms where that stuff becomes readily available, I'll have that like in a pinned comment or something, as well as in the description, because I think you guys can tell when I'm genuinely excited about a product, and this is absolutely one of those products that I'm genuinely excited about, and I think fills a niche in the market that up until now has not been filled, and it's something that I think people underappreciate because that lack of exposure prevents them from being able to fully appreciate what it brings to the table. All right, anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think that covers pretty much everything.
Cool. Again, definitely stay tuned until the end of this video. I'll show you up close and personal with how the spoon and the pin and everything works. And then again, the full duration, full size video of the smoke that this puts out. It may take a while just because of the fire dangers right now in Oregon, but we'll definitely have that at least at some point, not at the end of this video, in a separate video, again, just due to time restrictions because of the wonderful fires on the West Coast. Yan, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
And again,
Thanks for your time.
Of course. It was my pleasure. Trust me. When I heard that this was going to be an opportunity to meet up with, I was anxious to make it happen.
Awesome.
And again, you'll definitely see a lot more of this on the channel in the future. And definitely check out the website. Find your local dealers. If there's not one close to you, make sure your dealer gets connected with this guy to make this something that you can actually get a hold of. But anyway, with all that being said, as always, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching. So what we have, just like a standard smoke grenade, we have this pull ring here. I'm just gonna pull this guy out. As long as I hold the spoon down, nothing is gonna happen. As soon as I release the spoon and throw this grenade, which, you know, unlike Uncle, what was the guy from Napoleon Dynamite? The uncle who could throw the football over the mountains? Uncle Rico. Unlike Uncle Rico, I'm not gonna be able to throw this over the mountains. But we'll just chuck it a little ways and we'll watch how it burns. We have a little bit of wind right now, so we'll actually see what happens. So I'm gonna yank on this the pin. As long as you don't drop the pin, theoretically now if I wanted to, if I change my mind, I can reinsert the pin and then basically make this grenade safe to let go of the spoon again. They're gonna go ahead and pull it. As soon as I let go, it's gonna actuate the primer and then start the burn. I forgot to get guns ready, so that's the second thing I do for. Let me snag this from you. All right, so as you could see that we got a good little bit of burn time out of it. Now obviously the effectiveness of the smoke is going to be based on wind direction and speed. So we have pretty mild winds, and you could tell right out the gate, took a little bit to get it actually cooking, but once it started putting it out, it put up a pretty good little screen. We, at least from our vantage point, couldn't see anything behind it. Once the wind picked up a little bit, it started blowing it a little bit faster, so it is not going to be as effective if you're trying to do it as a smoke screen, but that's why there are some techniques involved in trying to get it closer to them, so you're obscuring their view and basically covering movement, also being aware of wind direction and speed. So I'm pretty satisfied with how this thing did. These are not cheap, but these are definitely the best smoke grenades available to us as civilians, at least in my experience. And so you will definitely be seeing me using these more, maybe not on the channel, but definitely in training classes and things of that nature, because smoke is a very important thing to understand and be able to use in your kit.